There was a press conference the other day where the only people in the press corps were like conservative, like activists.
Matt Gaetz, Laura Loomer.
Yes. Jack, I can never say his last name, Posobiec.
Something like that.
That's the entirety of the press corps. Like, these are the people who are supposed to keep Pete Hegseth accountable.
I mean, like, when Fox News won't sign a loyalty pledge, you know that it's a problem.
It's just a joke. It's a joke. Christine, we are back for another Ombudsmom's Corner.
Yes. There's plenty to complain about this week in the news.
Who you got for us?
Let's start with Pete Hegseth.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Yes, Department of War chair, whatever he's calling himself now.
Yeah, they changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, although it's not official. It's just like a Band-Aid solution.
Yeah, it just feels creepy and gross.
So I knew we were going to talk about Pete Hegseth, and so I wanted to show you this. This is my laptop that I do all my writing on, and I have this sticker.
Where did you get that?
I found it on Blue Sky. Somebody made that sticker, and it is just perfect.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge SNL fan. I enjoy the clips when I see them, but this week's was pretty good.
Missed it. What happened?
Colin Jost broed it. Well, he's already broy, so he extra broed it up as Pete Hegseth.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So he's been in the headlines specifically for alleged war crimes.
Mm-hmm. We have been, and we as in the United States of America Imperial Empire,
yes,
have been blowing up alleged drug cartel boats, which may just be fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela. And after bombing one of the boats, we bombed the survivors.
Yes, which is a huge no-no.
Mm-hmm.
Violation of the Geneva Conventions, I believe.
And so now Pete Hegseth is talking about the seditious six, who are members of Congress, including Senator Mark Kelly, who actually served in the military and went to outer space for criticizing him.
Did you see Hegseth, okay, I think what happened was Kelly posted a picture of his uniform and made a comment about it, I know the rules of engagement or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And Hegseth came back and was like, actually, your medals are all backwards.
Oh my God.
But it turns out that the picture was just mirrored.
Incredible.
So he's a fucking dumbass.
He is a fucking dumbass. If you want to talk about gendered constructs and stuff, do you remember when he tried to show off that he could do pull-ups and he could only do the women's pull-ups?
Yeah. Did you see the drag queen who does pull-ups on TikTok?
No.
Dragged him?
Oh, that's incredible. Wait, a drag queen dragged him?
Yes.
Incredible. 10 out of 10.
Let's do a slight pause to see if I can find this video. I actually have that video here.
Incredible.
50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. It was President Trump. Hi, Pete Hegseth. Patagonia here. While you're busy trying to take away the rights of queer people, I'm over here advocating for the rights of all people, including my right to do better pull-ups than you, all with my balls tucked inside of me. You little bitch.
That was beautiful.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Please include this.
50, you little bitch.
Please include this in your Ombudsmom's Corner.
I will. That's why I pulled it up and showed the screen.
Incredible.
It's so funny.
It's so funny because it's true.
Hegseth he was like a captain in the reserves, right? And
I don't even know that he was that. Was he?
He was. I believe he was a captain. I will double check.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could have been lower rank. But the criticism that I see from military guys against Hegseth is that he is very clearly trying to make up for his insecurities around his own career by being this guy who's we are gonna have a masculine fighting force and no more woke nonsense, no more men in dresses in our alpha military and all of this, and we are going to focus on maximizing lethality and a warrior ethos. And Meanwhile, like, what actually wins wars is logistics.
Indeed. As a student of history, you know this.
Yes. Like, World War II, the Americans didn't win with, like, superior fighters, it's the fact that we kept our troops supplied better than
Yeah.
everybody else. And we kept everybody's troops supplied, like, British, Russian, all of them. So he has this, like, fake Spartan mentality about the military,
And we know how well that went.
and I think that this boat incident ties into that because he's like, "We have a mission, it's to stop, quote, unquote, "drug smugglers" from coming to America." They're just blowing up random boats in the Gulf of Mexico, and it will always be called the Gulf of Mexico, by the way.
Always the Gulf of Mexico.
So I think that he, like, originally was like, "Yeah, like, this is the warrior ethos. If we destroy your boat, we're gonna also bomb you." I don't think he knew that it was a war crime
How do you not know that that's a war crime?
because he's just a dipshit.
You can't kill indiscriminately. Well, maybe he doesn't know that. Does he know that now?
We don't know. But I think he's, like, engaged in a cover up now because he was like, was it an admiral or a boat captain that he's pinning it on who testified recently? But he basically put out this statement where he was like, and this is at the height of, like, the heat that was on him. He was like, actually, I can find it. Oh, here it is. It's a Hegseth tweet, and I believe it's from last Monday.
Mhm.
He wrote, "What? Let's make one thing crystal clear. Admiral Mitch Bradley is an American hero, a true professional, and has my 100% support. I stand by him and the combat decisions he has made on the
Uh,
September 2nd mission and all others since. America is fortunate to have such men protecting us. When this Department of War says we have the back of our warriors, we mean it."
what a sleazebag.
And this is, like, masked as again, this warrior ethos thing where
Mhm.
it's like, no more liberal bullshit like war crimes. And he's essentially just throwing this guy completely under the bus for
Or
all of
under the
this.
boat.
Under the boat. Yeah. That's a dangerous place to be nowadays.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we don't have a press corps anymore covering the
Oh my God. That
Department of
part
Defense war.
drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, even Fox News refused to sign the Pledge of Loyalty or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, they had outlets sign a pledge of loyalty, and it's only, like, Newsmax and, like, all of these far-right news outlets that signed on, and there was a press conference the other day where the only people in the press corps were, like, conservative, like, activists.
Matt Gaetz, Laura Loomer,
Yes, Jack, I can never say his last name, Posobiec?
something like that.
Yeah, that's the entirety of the press corps, like, these are the people who are supposed to keep Pete Hegseth accountable?
I mean, like, when Fox News won't sign a loyalty pledge, you know that it's a problem.
It's just a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke, except for it's the Department of War. Which,
Yeah,
well,
I'm not
actually,
calling it that.
I guess what I mean is that it's scary.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War is deeply funny to me because it was originally called the Department of War, and
Oh god, these guys think that they're so original.
then it was changed to the Department of Defense because people were like, "Why do we have a Department of War? Like, wouldn't it be better PR if we called it Defense?"
Mhm.
So it's funny that they, like, changed it because they're like, "We're warriors now, blah, 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 blah." But also it, like, pulled the wool off of the lie that was originally renaming it to the Department of Defense.
See, they're not smart is the other thing.
They're not sending the best and brightest.
No. To Washington, D.C., I can attest right now.
It's also deeply dystopian that they changed it to the Department of War and then immediately started deploying troops inside of America.
Yeah.
Who were they at war with inside of America? Hmm?
It's scary.
I mean, we all know who they're at war with, but we're not allowed to say it.
Yeah. Be quiet. Shh.
It's also really funny that they rename it to the Department of War, they commit war crimes, and then Trump is going around, like, demanding peace prizes.
Oh, yes. Well,
He
there's
has
a
his obsession with getting the Nobel Peace Prize.
well, now there's, like, a whole, well, made-up Peace Prize just for him.
Yes, so FIFA, which is the international governing body of world soccer,
A deeply fucked institution, mind you.
and, yes, I'm American, I do call it soccer. If I go to England, I'm gonna call it football, but here we call it soccer. A word that the English made up, by the way, not
Oh.
Americans. They had their World Cup draw recently because the United States, Mexico, and Canada are hosting next year's World Cup. I tried to get tickets. I did not win the lottery, and now they're way too expensive online, so I will not be going to a game. Although, if we get enough support on Patreon, maybe I will.
Hey.
It was originally supposed to be held in, I think, Madison Square Garden, although I'll double check on this. If I'm wrong on this, there'll be a note on the screen, which is like the mecca of East Coast sports is Madison Square Garden in New York
Mhm.
City. And Trump came in and was like, no, no, don't hold it there. Hold it at the Kennedy Center.
Where and how are they going to do that?
They already had it.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the actual, like, tournament. I was like, "Are
No,
they
just
gonna
the
bulldoze the Kennedy Center and build a soccer field?"
no, no. So
Oh,
the
no, I know
draw.
that they held it last week because my husband tried to get to his doctor's appointment and
Oh
everything was
God, it was
blocked
shut
off down
down.
there, yeah.
Yeah, we had multiple heads of state there. Mexico, Canada, U.S. at least
Mhm,
were there. So you have this World Cup draw. The draw is basically like uh, it's like a lottery where they pull these balls out of a bucket, and in each ball is the name of a country, and it's how they figure out who plays who and where.
mhm.
So I was watching it as a soccer fan because I wanted to know where the U.S. team was going to get placed and who they would be playing against. They got a very favorable draw.
Shocking.
I am trying not to get too hyped for this. But Trump was there and the
Mhm.
Kennedy Center hosted it. But like, what a downgrade to go from Madison Square Garden to the Kennedy Center.
Listen, I'm gonna defend the Kennedy Center because
Okay.
it's under a lot of real shit right now.
But as a part of this draw, FIFA awarded the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize to fucking Donald Trump.
I love that it's the inaugural prize because they
Yes.
literally made it up to satisfy his ego.
Yeah. Well, he's like a 6-year-old boy, right?
Mhm.
And the FIFA president, I forget his name. I think he's Italian, possibly.
Yeah, that
Um,
explains it.
he's either Italian, French, or German. I don't remember. Uh,
One of those.
he understands how to play people like Trump,
Mhm. Yeah, they're
because
allies.
Trump was making all of these threats a while back against the World Cup, where he was like, if these blue cities don't acquiesce to allowing me to send troops there, I'm going to pull the World Cup games, which he doesn't have the power to do. And so I think this is FIFA being like, hey, we'll give you this like trophy and medal
Ooh.
and call it a peace prize since you are a little bitch who can't like I'm saying a bitch a lot recently. This is problematic.
I
You're
think
a little
it's either a gender neutral or a gender inclusive bitch because they are all little bitch babies.
I think we're only calling men bitches on this show, which
Oh, that's fair.
yeah, right.
Mhm,
But he's like a 6-year-old boy who just wants his toys. He wants this peace prize, and FIFA sees, oh, he's never going to win a Nobel Peace Prize, but we can make up our own.
mhm. Calling men bitches is gender parody. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just came
So
up with that.
he's up on stage. He's got that shit-eating grin. They brought out the presidents of Canada, Mexico, and the United States to do the initial part of the draw. And admittedly, Trump was very funny. Like, he's genuinely a funny guy. He's an entertainer. That's how he built his political fan base. I've never denied that. I think he's a disaster for humanity when he's in power. But if he was just an entertainer, I would have a completely different like view of the guy, I think. The whole World Cup draw felt like a Trump rally at a certain point. Like, not the actual soccer stuff, but all of the other things. They
Mhm.
finished it by playing YMCA.
Oh god. Do they not realize the music that they play?
No, they have no idea.
Yeah.
In this rhetorical battle over war and peace, when Trump and Hegseth are in charge, we all lose, I think.
Yeah.